All right, let's talk about something that is, well, absolutely critical for any modern business: data architecture. In this explainer, we're going to break down the blueprints, the playbooks that turn all that messy, raw data from a huge headache into your company's most powerful strategic weapon. So let's get right to the heart of the matter. You know the feeling, right? Your company is just swimming, maybe even drowning in data. But when it's time to make a really big call, that's when the panic sets in. Can we actually trust this number? Is this report telling us the whole story? That right there is the chaos we're here to talk about solving. And for decades, the go-to solution for this mess has been the data warehouse. Now think of it less like your everyday operational database and more like a high-performance analytics engine. It's not for running the day-to-day business. Nope. Its entire job, its only purpose, is to take all that chaos and turn it into crystal clear insights, fast. Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. We'll start with the great debate that started it all, see how things have evolved, talk about the rule book you need to trust your data, prove the business value, and then we'll figure out which blueprint is right for you. Sound good? Let's get into it. All right, first up, the great data debate. To understand data warehousing, you really have to start with the two guys who basically wrote the book on it, Bill Inman and Ralph Kimball. I mean, these are the titans of the field, and they had completely different ideas about the right way to build one. Seriously, their debate still shapes almost every decision we make in this space today. So here's the showdown. On one side, you've got Bill Inman, the top-down architect. His vision is like building a massive, perfectly cataloged central library for the whole company. You build the entire thing first, a single source of truth. It's all about enterprise-wide consistency. Then you have Ralph Kimball, the bottom-up builder. He says, forget the giant library for now. Let's build a quick specialized workshop for the sales team first, then one for marketing. You build what you need when you need it and connect them over time. It's the ultimate trade-off: total consistency versus getting answers fast. And this table, this really gets down to the brass tacks. Iman's approach, the corporate information factory, gives you that bulletproof single source of truth. It uses a super normalized data structure. That just means the data is broken down into lots of small, tidy tables to eliminate any duplication. It's efficient, but man, it's complex and slow to build. We're talking 9 to 18 months. Kimball, on the other hand, is all about speed. His dimensional model is denormalized. Think fewer, bigger tables that are way easier for business folks to understand and query. You can get a solution up and running in just a few months. The risk? You got to be careful not to create a bunch of disconnected data silos. So how does Kimball get that speed? It's all about his core concepts: facts and dimensions. It's actually genius in its simplicity. Facts are the numbers, right? The things you measure, like how much you sold. Dimensions are the context: the who, what, where, and when that describe that sale. By splitting the world into these two things, he made data analysis so much more intuitive. Okay, so once you have your facts and dimensions, how do you piece them together? Well, there are two main ways. The most popular is the star schema. You just stick your fact table right in the middle and connect your dimension tables directly to it. Boom, it looks like a star. It's simple, it's fast, and BI tools absolutely love it. Then there's the snowflake schema. This is where you take a dimension, say product, and break it down even further into subtables like brand and category. It saves a little space, sure, but it also makes things more complex and can slow your queries down. But of course, the story doesn't end in the 90s with Inman and Kimball. The amount of data we're dealing with today is just staggering. It's messy, it changes constantly, and it demanded some new ways of thinking. So let's look at what came next. And that brings us to Data Vault 2.0. You can think of this as a hybrid approach that was built specifically for the chaos of the modern data world. It's designed for massive scale and flexibility. The whole idea is to break data into 3 simple parts: hubs, which are your core business concepts like customer; links, which show how those hubs connect to each other; and satellites, which store all the descriptive details. This structure is amazing for auditability and for handling environments where your source systems are changing all the time. Which leads us to what's probably the most common pattern you'll see today, especially on cloud platforms. It's the modern hybrid. What teams are doing is they're using Kimball's awesome, user-friendly dimensional model to get the data clean and structured. But then, for the final layer that the business analysts see, they smash it all together into one giant, wide table, often called an OBT, or one big table. Why? Because modern cloud warehouses like Snowflake and Databricks are absolute beasts at querying these huge flat tables. It's incredibly fast. Okay, so you've built this amazing technical architecture. It's a thing of beauty. But it's completely useless if your sales team's definition of a customer is different from your finance team's, right? If you can't trust the data, the whole thing falls apart. And that is where governance comes in. This is the rulebook. And let's be clear, Master Data Governance, or MDG, isn't some software you just buy and install. It's a discipline. It's a fundamental business process. It's all about making sure that your most critical data, we're talking customers, products, suppliers, is accurate and consistent across every single system in your company. It's about laying down the law for the data that matters most. So how do you build a good governance program? Well, it really rests on four main pillars. First, you've got to have trust. That means creating a single, authoritative, golden record for every customer. Second, you need accountability. Someone has to own the data for each domain. Third, responsible use. You have to protect sensitive data and make sure you're compliant. And finally, you have to manage your metadata. That just means having a business glossary so everyone agrees on what words like revenue actually mean. Okay, so how on earth do you plan all this out? You use something called an enterprise bus matrix. Now, I know it sounds super technical and intimidating, but it's really just the master blueprint. All it does is map your key business processes, like sales, shipping, inventory, against your shared data dimensions, like customer, product, and date. This is the document that ensures everyone is singing from the same song sheet. It's what lets you guarantee that sales and finance are speaking the exact same data language. All right, we've talked a lot of tech and process, but let's connect it to what really matters, the bottom line. What's the actual ROI here? Why should a business invest in all this? Well, let's start with the cost of not doing it. This number from Gartner is just staggering. The average organization loses about $12.8 million every single year, all because of bad data. Think about that. That's money lost to bad decisions, wasted time, broken processes, and compliance fines. It's a huge hidden tax on your business. So, on the flip side, where does the value come from? A solid data strategy delivers real ROI in three big ways. First, you get straight-up cost savings. You stop paying compliance penalties, and you get rid of all those redundant, siloed systems. Second, you see massive productivity gains. Your teams can actually find the data they need and trust it, which means faster, better decisions. And third, and maybe most exciting, you unlock brand new revenue opportunities. This is the fuel for better analytics, AI, and new data-driven products. All right, so we've gone through the great debate, the modern evolutions, the importance of governance, and the business case. So now, the big question. How do you choose? Let's pull this all together. And this table really sums it up perfectly. There's no one-size-fits-all answer here. It all comes down to what you're trying to achieve. If your number one priority is enterprise-wide consistency for something like global financial reporting, you probably lean towards Inmon. If you need speed to value for a specific department, like a marketing team launching a campaign, Kimball is your best friend. Need insane scalability and auditability for a complex environment? That's Data Vault. And if you want to blend speed with integration on a modern cloud platform, the hybrid model is where it's at. You match the architecture to the problem. And I think this quote from Ralph Kimball's classic book, The Data Warehouse Toolkit, just says it all. The presentation of data must be grounded in simplicity if it is to stand any chance of success. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how technically brilliant your solution is, if the business users can't easily understand and use the data, you've failed. It's that simple. So let's end with this. Your data architecture, it isn't just an IT project. It's a strategic asset. It's a direct reflection of your business strategy, and it will absolutely define your ability to adapt and to win in the future. So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. Is the data blueprint you have today really built for the company you want to become tomorrow?